Good everyone, it's Steve from Sneaker Tech Talk, back with another video today. For today's video, we will be taking a look at the performance review of the Jordan Luka 2. Alright, just to get things started, we will cover the traction pattern on this pair here. So what you're getting here is a wave multi-directional traction pattern. It's pretty similar to the Luka 1s in my opinion. As far as lateral cuts, forward motions in this pair on clean floors, you will be covered. This is a pretty tried and true traction pattern in my opinion. On dirty floors, this glow in the dark translucent outsole does collect dust, so you will have to wipe every 3 or 4 plays, but as long as you're wiping with this one on all your movements, you will be covered as far as the traction goes. As far as outdoor usage goes, this is a pretty shallow traction pattern. It is a bit more of a firm rubber compound, but I do think you'll wear away the traction on these pretty quick outdoors. Now, if you can get these on sale, I would say it's a pretty good go, because I did take these for a spin outdoors once and they did great outdoors. But in my opinion, you will wear away that traction pretty quick. So if you are paying that retail price tag of $120 or $130, I would probably steer clear of that. But as far as the traction goes, for me, I really had no issues. I actually enjoyed it. I would say it's at par, not quite as much of a squeak as the Jordan Luka 1s. Held me down as far as all of my shifty movements go. So as far as the traction goes on the Jordan Luka 2, I would have to give these a very solid 8.5 out of 10. So as far as the cushion goes on the Jordan Luka 2, they do differ slightly, but for the most part, these are exactly the same as the Jordan Luka 1. For me, the Jordan Luka 1 was very underwhelming in my opinion for the cushion. So you do have that full length Formula 23 foam. It's basically a Phylon foam. It is pretty springy underfoot, but it is going to compact and kind of just become dead over time. But on the medial portion right here, from the midfoot all the way to the forefoot, you do have Cushlon, and the forefoot is very springy and very close to the floor in the Jordan Luka 2. So that is one thing that they did add in the 2s over the 1s, is this strip of Cushlon foam. The rest of it is that Formula 23, so it is pretty underwhelming. But as you know, Luka is a player that does play on the floor. He's not jumping super high, so he's not needing a ton of impact protection. So if you're looking for that zoom or air sensation, you're not going to find it in the Luka 2. But if you're looking for something right out of the box that is pretty plush in the heel all the way to the forefoot and keeping you really close to the floor, the Jordan Luka 2 will have you covered. My only issue is the durability. I'm just not sure as far as the durability of that Formula 23, how long it's going to last as far as having that springy feeling. But as of right now, it's something that I don't mind, especially that Cushlon foam in the forefoot. So as far as the cushion goes in the Jordan Luka 2, a slight upgrade from the Luka 1 in my opinion. So I'm going to have to give it a 7.5 out of 10. As far as the materials go on the Jordan Luka 2, that's where this shoe differs slightly as well from the Luka 1s. You're getting a lot more of that raw material. So starting at the toe box on this pair, you do have a mesh. It's kind of almost like a Cordura mesh from the Jordan 11s, and that does wrap up the side right here with some stitch lines for some extra support and durability up to the midfoot. And then everything else around the shoe, minus this portion right here with that mesh, is a kind of raw material. So you're having some suede or nubuck material on the heel counter, and that does extend to the eye stay on the medial and lateral side. I do really like the usage of this raw material. I am looking forward to seeing if they throw some really nice leather on some pairs. I know the K54 pair did have some white synthetic leather, but I'm not mad at what they're doing here because they are kind of switching things up. At the heel right here, and on the tongue, there is actually some neoprene material also. So you're getting a mixture of old and new materials alike, and I actually really enjoy the material selection on the Luka 2 so far. So as far as the materials go on the Jordan Luka 2, I'm gonna have to give these a 9 out of 10. As far as the weight goes on the Jordan Luka 2, again, this is a US size 11, a half size up from my usual size, and these do come in at 15.39 ounces, so roughly the same weight as the LeBron 20s. So in my opinion, it's really a non-factor as far as the weight goes in the Jordan Luka 2. So as far as the fit goes in the Jordan Luka 2, right off the bat, instead of my usual size 10.5, I did go with a size 11. Now I don't have a wide foot, and the size 10.5 lengthwise was actually pretty good, but I did have some pinch points on my initial try on right here on this plate and the midfoot plate. It did go away after wear in the size 11, but the size 10.5, I was concerned that it would be digging in too much. So right off the bat, I did go up to a size 11, but the overall fit on this shoe is super snug, especially in the toe box. It is very tapered at the toe, and then the lacing system you're getting on the Luka 2 are these eyelets that run all the way up, and then kind of a metal one at the top. And just the way that that locks your foot in this shoe creates a very snug one-to-one fit. And if you're a wide footer with the Luka 2, I'm gonna say right off the bat that you should go up half a size, because it's not overly a narrow shoe, but I did have these two plates here at the forefoot and the midfoot, sorry, kind of pushing into my foot. So if you have an overly wide foot, I would say actually just try these on in store, because they might not be for you. But for me, I went up to a size 11. It's still very much a one-to-one fit. I do have a little bit more room than I'd like in the forefoot as far as the length goes. My toe is right about here, so I do have a tiny bit of dead space right at the end of the shoe. But overall, it's a one-to-one fit, very snug, and I had no movement within the shoe. So as far as the fit goes on the Jordan Luka 2, I would have to give these an 8 out of 10. So as far as the support goes on the Jordan Luka 2, that's where this shoe really shines, just like the Luka 1s. So starting right off the bat, you have this really insane rigid heel counter. Like, you cannot push it in at all, and it's super thick. So you're getting a ton of support at the back of the shoe. Obviously the shoe is a low top, but you do not get ankle support from the height of the shoe. You're actually getting it from a very rigid and sturdy heel counter. And that does extend far down on either side of the Jordan Luka 2. So right off the bat, great support at the back of the Luka 2. Moving your way down from that, you do have this support plate here at the midfoot and right here as well near the toe, right at the end of the shoe. So that support plate does wrap under the shoe and run right here on this side, and there is a really small bottom loaded shank plate as well. So the overall torsional rigidity in this shoe is really insane. You're gonna have a ton of midfoot support and support at the back of the shoe at the Jordan Luka 2. And then the overall selection of materials and the way they use this eye stay here, it's really gonna harness your foot in on those hard lateral cuts, coupled with this plate that wraps up the side at your midfoot. So really no issues at all as far as containment goes. And then also at the bottom of the shoe, you can kind of see it flaring out right here. There is an outrigger on the Jordan Luka 2. It does flare out. So the forefoot is pretty stable. The heel is a little bit more narrow. The midfoot, sorry, is really narrow. And then it does flare out again here at the forefoot. So the Luka 2 has amazing lateral and midfoot support, and just an overall great containment on those hard lateral cuts. So if you're a big player that wants to play in a shoe kind of made for shooting guards or small forwards, I would look no further, because the Jordan Luka 2 should have you covered. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm gonna have to give the support on the Jordan Luka 2 a very solid 9 out of 10. So that's going to do it for today's performance review on the Jordan Luka 2. I did want to cover one last thing that I did not cover in the outsole / traction section. So you do have these little slits right here in the outsole. And what this is for basically is when you're making those hard lateral cuts or step back movements, it's going to add some extra flexibility with this outsole, because it is very rigid here on the lateral side, wrapping up with that support plate. But here on the medial side of the shoe, you do have these little slits, which is going to add extra flexibility with the Luka 2. But as far as this shoe goes, I think this shoe is best suited for shooting guards, point guards, and small forwards. I do like with what they did with the cushioning, adding that strip of Cushlon. The rest of it is just Formula 23, so it will break down over time. The traction is great. The support is absolutely insane. So if you're looking to try the latest and greatest from Jordan Brand, for Luka Doncic, look no further. But if you guys have played in these, let me know down in the comments what you guys think of them. I will say that the Luka one, as far as the aesthetics go, I still like the look of the Luka one just a little bit better. It is just a little bit more of a lightweight package and a minimalist design, but the Luka 2, as far as performance goes, definitely an upgrade over the Luka 1. So sound off in the comments what you guys think of the Jordan Luka 2. That's going to cover it for today's video. As always, if you guys can like, comment, and subscribe, that does help the channel a ton. And check out my Instagram over at 23mj88, as it is an extension of my YouTube channel with all my pickups, basketball footage, and nostalgia as a whole. As always, thanks for watching today's video, and until next time, peace.